Am I overreacting thinking about breaking up with my fiancé due to how he treats my special needs sister? I would like to know if I'm being overdramatic or overreacting. I'm 29 years old, and my fiancé is also 29. We've known each other since 2015 because he attends the same religious church as me. We started dating in 2022, and he proposed to me in February of this year. We have plans to get married in October. He is an only child, and I have one little sister who has some special needs, with me being an only sibling to my little sister who is 19. If something were to happen to my parents, and when they can no longer care for her, she will be living with me. She's not severely disabled. She has Down syndrome and a low IQ. She's very independent though. She can walk, talk, eat, shop, and do a lot of life skills on her own with minimal assistance. She's just very vulnerable and isn't aware of safety. My fiancé is fully aware of the circumstances regarding our future and has accepted her living with us. It becomes a topic a lot since we're also considering having our own kids. So, not all of the time, but sometimes when my fiancé and I go out, I include my sister. I do respite for my sister, and I get paid to do respite for her. Again, my fiancé has always been acceptable with me including her when we hang out. We went out yesterday, and I included my sister. My whole night felt ruined because of him. We went out to eat, and my sister was trying to order, and he kept rushing her when she was stuttering a bit. I didn't make a scene, and I kept silent due to not wanting to make a scene. We went to the mall next to go shop at my sister and I's favorite store. My fiancé stayed out of the store, which was fine because this store is aimed towards women. When we got done with shopping, and my little sister was showing him what she got, he didn't say anything and didn't even show any interest. I confronted him, and he made a rude remark saying, "God forbid me not caring about your sister's fragrances." Our last stop was Target. I had to get some things, and I had my sister help with scanning things. He seemed annoyed and told me that she needs to speed things up because this is awkward. Mind you, there wasn't even a line, and multiple self-checkouts were open. When he dropped me off at home yesterday, I didn't even say anything. As much as I want us to grow together, I can't be with someone who belittles my sister. Do I have the right to be upset? In the comments, Budget Discussion says, "I'm confused about what was awkward at Target. Her in general? Her speed while checking items or a lack thereof? Either way, I'd be offended and feel protective of her because I can't see his perspective about either being valid. I'm so sorry he was mean to you and toward her. The term red flag exists for this reason. Continue the engagement, but be very aware of what and how he says things. If you continue to see red flags, make the hard choice sooner rather than later." OP replies, "I was having her scan items because it's a goal that she works on since she gets state services for her intellectual disability. We had a full cart, and it was taking a little longer than usual to finish because she would accidentally scan something twice, so the staff was kinda hanging close around us in case we needed assistance. I think he low-key feels embarrassed just by her presence, and he feels like we're being stared at." Brightbag293 says, "You obviously don't have to if you don't want, but I'm very curious to know what this loser of a man looks like. A lot of losers who talk crap are insecure and below average looking." OP replies, "It'll be breaking the rules if I post him, but I don't mind sending you a picture of him through PM on here." Helicopter No says, "Not overreacting. One thing to keep in mind, aside from how he treats your sister, is that in marriage there will be times when you will need him to be your caregiver. It could be after the birth of a child that took an unexpected turn, surgery where you can't even bathe without assistance. If he treats your sister the way he does, ask yourself if he would treat you the same way when he's supposed to care for you. I would have an honest conversation with him about your expectations in this marriage and if this is something he is capable of." OP replies, "His mother actually asked my parents about our gene pool when we were out with his parents one time, but said afterwards that she would love her grandchild regardless. So I just let that one go." I don't know about you guys, but that's just yet another red flag to deal with here. These two have been together since 2015. That's 10 years. He's known about this for 10 years, and now he's acting up? Like, come on, this is not acceptable behavior. And this should be not even a red flag. This should be brighter than a red flag for OP, that he's known about her for 10 years, and now, of all times, he's acting out. Something is wrong, something is not going well, and I don't think that if she forgives this and kind of ignores it, that things are going to get any better. I think she needs to confront him on this. I think she needs to know exactly what is going on and why he's acting this way, because it doesn't sound like he nor his family are very accepting of this little sister at all. To me, it sounds like they all want her gone, they all hate her presence, they all are scared that OP is going to have another child with special needs, and that is something to be ashamed of. All signs point to that, and I hope that OP has that conversation with him. And now, onto the update. So I posted on here a few days ago regarding my fiancé and my special needs little sister. Some people wanted an update. After posting about it, reading most of the comments, and doing deep thinking, I've decided to cut ties with him last Sunday. It was one of the hardest things I've had to do, because we've had our future planned out, and he was my first relationship. Family will always come first for me, and I'm not going to be with someone who is an ableist, especially when him and I can end up with a disabled child someday, because muscular dystrophy does run in my family. As far as my future, I'm a pediatric RN, so I'm going to keep focusing on my career. I have a savings account set up, so I'm planning on applying for an apartment very soon. I'm also going on a Bahamian or Bahamian cruise, I don't know how you guys say it, in October that was supposed to be our honeymoon, but I'll be going with my best friend instead. So I'm ecstatic for that. I'm going to keep living my life as best as I can and not dwell over a relationship that wasn't meant to be. For the few people who made comments such as that I'm just going to end up single because no one wants the package that I come with, just know that I see the ableism in you, and you might want to humble yourselves, because anyone can become disabled respectfully. In the comments, Stardust Stuffing says, "Good for you. My daughter is autistic and requires a lot of patience and understanding. I'd lose my mind if someone I knew treated her badly because of her extra needs. So how did he take it? I'm really curious to know." OP says, "It went pretty sour, but I expected it because he has a pretty short temper, which is crazy to admit because we are both a part of the Latter-day Saints Church." A little context, so before officially breaking up, on Saturday, we went out because I really wanted to get down to the root of the problem on why he was so disgusted by my sister. He started gaslighting me and making me feel like it was a me issue. That's when I knew that it wasn't going to work, and on Sunday, I had him come over to my house and I told him that we are done. He started crying and apologizing, then he turned into a hothead and demanded the ring back and everything that I owned that he bought for me. Crazy, right? Mind you, this happened at my parents' house where I'm currently living. They were already aware of his behavior. When he demanded everything back and refused to leave my bedroom, I just texted my mum for help because it was the first time that he showed genuine rage at me, and I didn't want to get physically hurt. My dad, who's a retired cop, came up and told him to leave. Boxfin says, "Well, to be fair, if he proposed to you, you should give him back his ring." OP says, "The ring I absolutely did give back, but clothes that I own and have worn multiple times, car keys that he insisted to replace when I lost mine in the past, and other petty things like that, I refuse to just give back." OK Research says, "Totally fair. Returning the ring shows respect, but keeping personal items that you've used and were gifted makes sense. Not everything needs to be handed back out of spite." For those wondering, no, you do not legally retain eternal ownership over items that you willingly gave to someone else. And I bet he would have found some skewed reasoning to keep anything that OP gave him. Exactly. Plus the fact that one of the gifts he was asking for were the keys to her car is especially concerning. Wow. OP dodged a major bullet there. A weird interest in the gene pool. Very lucky that his mask slipped before the wedding and before kids. I dated a guy years ago who told me, on like our second date, that he was worried because I'd been bitten by a black widow as a child and it might affect my future kids. Yeah, that was our last date. 30 plus years on, and I'm still really weirded out about that. Quote, he has a pretty short temper, which is crazy to admit because we're both a part of the LDS church. I was raised Mormon. Everything about this makes a ton of sense to me. Of course he has a short temper when a woman dares contradict him. Of course he thinks her sister is worthless. Women are only of value in the very specific parameters of wife and mother as defined by Mormonism. Spiritually uplifting bangmaid. Plus the angle of everything being about appearance all the time. For men, your perfect family is something you are owed. It's your great heavenly reward, evidence of your righteousness and God's favor. Ties really heavily into prosperity gospel, and your wife and kids are a part of your riches. Honestly, respect to OP for cutting it off that fast. 5 days seems like a goddamn record in just recognizing there is a problem, confronting the problem, and getting rid of him ASAP. And recognizing that you were being gaslit as well by him. Him saying like, oh no, actually, you're the one that had the problem with the sister the whole time. My comments? What? You were just reading into them, weren't you? Obviously, you're the one with the problem. Like, thank you for that, OP. Thank you for having an incredibly tough spine. I know that you do not play games when it comes to your sister, as evidenced by how quick you were to act, and I'm sure your family feels the same way, and they were just as quick to act as you were. And probably just as quick to reassure you that you did nothing wrong, that it was him and his family that are entirely to blame for this. Thank God the trash took itself out. I hope that this is the last that you see of him, and good luck finding someone that genuinely cares for you and for your sister as well. Thank you for the story, and good luck. Our next post is by a deleted account, and it's titled, Am I the asshole here for ruining my best friend's wedding, and likely our decades-long friendship? So this happened just a few days ago, and I'm still feeling guilty over what happened. This weekend was my best friend Christian's, 30 male, wedding, and I, 30 male, had the honor of being the best man. Christian and I have been best friends for almost 20 years. He was the best man at my own wedding, and our wives are close too, all that good stuff. The night of the rehearsal dinner arrives, and everyone's ready to have a great time. Then, about 10 minutes into the event, I look over and notice that my wife, Jasmine, 30 female, is shaking and talking in a panic about something to one of the other bridesmaids. I walk over to see what's up, and the bridesmaid tells me that she just witnessed Christian's dad, Robert, 50s male, walk up to my wife and rub her ass multiple times. Then he says to Jasmine, loud enough for the other bridesmaid and her 10-year-old daughter to hear, mind you, essentially, I get to touch you now because it's my son's wedding. I'm 20 feet away. Robert's wife is 20 feet away. Christian is 20 feet away. It didn't seem to stop Robert, though. I immediately see red, but my wife begs me not to do anything. Let me tell you that in over a decade together with Jasmine, I've never once allowed something like this to just slide. And frankly, there's been hardly anyone who had the balls to disrespect my wife at all while I'm around. I'm trying my best not to walk up and deck this guy as hard as I can. If he weren't my best friend's dad and it wasn't a wedding, I'd 100% have ended up in jail for doing something violent. Mind you, I've known Robert for about as long as I've known Christian. Always thought that he was cool before this, but maybe this old dude thought that that meant that we were cool enough that he could assault my wife whenever he wants. Finally, I lose my cool and walk up to Robert, who's nearby, kind of by himself. I put my arm around him and say, "Hey Robert, no more of that shit." He plays dumb at first, acting like he doesn't know what I mean, so I repeat myself. "You know what I'm talking about. No more of that shit." Finally, he seems to get it, stutters some kind of okay, and we go our separate ways. In my opinion, it should have stopped there. Unfortunately, it seems some of Robert's family may have overheard what happened. All of a sudden, rumors are all flying across the wedding. People know something happened. People are giving my wife dirty looks as Robert and his wife disappear for hours, presumably to fight. Whatever. We get through rehearsal night. Then the next morning, as people are getting ready, Robert approaches me alone and tries to give me a little "we cool" fist bump. It's been less than 12 hours since it happened at this point, so I tell him flat out no, we are not cool. And still, he doesn't get the picture. Hours later, while the bridesmaids are getting ready, he approaches me again and asks, "Where's Jasmine? She's getting dressed right now?" I see red again immediately and say, "Don't effing talk about her." He gets all offended and walks away. Luckily, this was my last direct interaction with him for the weekend. Of course, though, Robert then decides that it's time to go find my wife, again while I'm not there, and try to apologize. Jasmine just says, "Get away from me." Finally, Robert gets it. We don't want apologies, we want to be left alone. Still, the vibe is off for the rest of the time. Robert is sulking, his wife is giving Jasmine dirty looks, and Christian's entire family are whispering every time we're around. It eventually, apparently, got back to Christian. He never talked to me about what happened, never checked in to see if my wife was okay. For reference, I would defend his new wife to the grave if anyone ever tried the same shit with her. The kicker was at the end of the weekend. He said goodbyes to everyone but Jasmine and I. Seems pretty clear to me that he's chosen sides, and we haven't spoken since. Should I have just let it slide? 5% of me says yes for the sake of peace and my friendship with Christian, but 95% of me also says that I stopped something worse from happening. Remember that the guy couldn't keep his hands to himself for more than 10 minutes into the rehearsal. In the comments, your wife's safety and well-being come first, always. His actions were unacceptable sexual assault, and anyone excusing it, including your friend, is wrong. And OP replies, "Thank you. I needed to hear this, honestly. Not the asshole, you didn't ruin anything. Creepy old man did. I understand your friend is in an odd position. Maybe talk it out when some time has passed, or move on. You're fine either way. Honestly, based on his behavior, he would have 100% escalated things with your wife had you not intervened." OP replies, "That was my worry, and if not my wife, then someone else. There were plenty of young women at the wedding, some of them still basically kids. I shudder to think what else may have happened. You're right though, I'm hoping Christian is just trying to figure things out and hasn't totally abandoned our friendship, but we'll see." When asked, does Christian know the real story, OP says, "Honestly, I don't know what he knows right now. My wife and his wife are meeting up tomorrow for drinks, so I have to think it will come up. I didn't even mention that Christian's wife has a long history of her own problems with Robert and Robert's wife, so it's not like she'll be coming to defend them. Has Robert done something like this in the past?" OP says, "To be honest, yes. One time 2 years ago, Jasmine thought that she might have felt him tap her on the ass at a gathering. My dumb ass tried to give him the benefit of the doubt because even she wasn't sure, but now I'm 1000% sure that it happened." Back up to the post, there's an edit. "Appreciate you all so much. This is making me realize the position my friend is in is likely extremely awkward and that we need to have a conversation. At the wedding itself, I really wanted nothing to get back to him and ruin his wedding, which is why we haven't talked about it. We all just got home last night. Jasmine and Christian's wife are meeting up for usual drinks tomorrow night, and Jasmine has resolved to tell her everything. They are very close, so I'm sure Christian's wife will believe my wife. That being said, I'm not sure where things will ultimately fall. In the meantime / coming days, I do have to come up with a way to reach out to Christian. I want to keep the friendship if I can, for sure. We've been through honestly everything together." I honestly completely understand where OP is coming from with this one, and yeah, it sucks that your hands are kind of tied because I think OP made the right choice in not saying anything during the wedding because that is their time, that is their day, and, you know, there's always drama, there's always some kind of drama, but, you know, adding more to the mix, adding confrontation like that would have just made it worse and would have sullied, you know, Christian's view of you in his eyes. In that, like, yes, you would have done the right thing to bring up his dad being a creep, but that will taint the memory of his wedding. And you want the memory of his wedding to be about him and his special time. Unfortunately, some people have a habit of inserting themselves in a very dramatic sense into people's weddings. And that is what this dickhead creep is doing. He doesn't want to control himself because he's a freak. And I think you are not the asshole, and I don't think you're ruining your best friend's wedding, and I don't think you've ruined your lifelong friendship. I'm sure his wife is able to bring him back to a sense of normality and get him to realize, hey, your dad is a freak. Your dad does not deserve to be given the benefit of the doubt. Your dad is not able to control himself. You need to talk to OP, and you need to get that freak under control. So I don't think anything bad will happen as a result of this. I don't think that he's taking sides. I think he was just being quiet for the sake of his wedding, and that he was ultimately embarrassed for what his dad had done. And now, on to the update. Alright guys, thank you again to everyone who gave me advice. You're all strangers, and yet you couldn't have been kinder to me in a trying time. For your sake, I wish I could say this has a more interesting ending, but most of you are right. Christian is disgusted by his dad and is fully on Jasmine and I's side. We're still bros, and he apologized profusely to my wife when she stopped over to meet up with his wife. We've spoken since, and all is good now. Who knows how Christian's relationship with Robert will go from here on out, but all things considered, I'm fine where things landed. Sorry for anyone expecting more drama, but I'm just glad to have my brother back. In the comments, great news. Out of curiosity though, as Christian hadn't even said goodbye to you and your wife, as well as his mum giving Jasmine dirty looks, what was the actual rumor being spread around? Because it sounds like something framing Jasmine as the bad guy went around. OP says, he was embarrassed and sad from what I understand. That's all. To be honest, he's like a little brother to me. I get that it would have been hard to confront me. Another commenter says, I'm glad he understands the full story and stands by you and your wife. Communication is key. I'm happy for all of you, congrats on your buddy's wedding, and screw Robert. Peter says, I see some comments state that the dad might have dementia. I get where they're coming from, but in real life, sometimes some older people really are just rude or pure creeps. This is one of those moments. It's also entirely possible that he has dementia and is a rude creep. Even if that's the case, the entire family, especially his wife, shouldn't have behaved as if Jasmine was a homewrecker floozy, and they should have had someone to keep him in line. Was Robert always like this? He may have some early onset dementia or something that may make him lose all inhibitions. Either way, it's good that you and Christian remain bros. That's the first thought that came to my mind when the OP said that Robert was always a stand-up guy. Is he losing his mind doing something like that in public? Or maybe some medication is causing executive dysfunction, or maybe he's just a predator who knew damn well what he was doing. Regardless, I'm glad the son is not enabling his father. Honestly, whatever the reason is, I absolutely agree with that. Thank God the son is not enabling the father. Thank God there is no twisted narrative where an entire family is coming out against a victim and shunning and silencing them and gaslighting them into thinking that the victim is the one that did wrong here. Thank you for the story, OP. I'm sorry that you had to deal with all of that. You didn't deserve it, she didn't deserve it, and that old freak deserves some punishment for what he's done. I hope that you shame him in the future, or you do get some revenge. But if you don't, that's fine as well. Thank you for the story, and thank you for the update. Our next post is by user Live Brie or Fry Carbs, titled, Am I the asshole for saying good job after my kid defended herself from a bully by punching him? I need to see if I'm crazy here. My kid, female 13, has a bully. He's one of those kids who's related to someone in the school district. We've had multiple issues with this kid harassing mine, but my kid is bullied a lot, sadly. We're actually switching her into a new school because the public schools have been doing nothing, and this past semester, it got physical. The bully pushed her, and she stumbled back. Fortunately, only scratches, but I was livid. The bully got suspension, but he's been suspended before. I tried talking to the parents, and they make excuses, of which the wildest is that they'll probably end up together someday because of how they argue. I told them under no certain terms that their son is not to even look at my daughter, and his only words to her need to be an apology. I got the, well, he's suspended, so what else do you want argument. This summer, she was in STEM camp. She begged to be signed up, but so was the bully, and this time, during their outdoor break, the teacher was physically on his phone when the bully, in full view of multiple students, pushed my daughter, and she turned and punched him in the stomach. The bully is now up for possible suspension from the camp, not the district, but I lodged another formal complaint this time, threatening a lawsuit. I asked my daughter if she defended herself, and she said she was afraid he was going to hurt her because he threatened to knock her out. I said, okay, good job defending yourself, I'm glad you're okay. Let's just catch a movie and decompress. I told my siblings on Father's Day and was immediately told by my eldest brother and his wife that I should never have encouraged her to fight anyone. I argued that I didn't. I'm glad she defended herself when she was scared, and the person that I trusted her care to was not even paying attention. They argue that now she'll see punching people as okay the next time she gets her feelings hurt, and that I'm a bad parent for opening that door. Am I? I mean, if she's in trouble and in physical danger, I don't want her to ever think that she'll get in trouble for defending herself, but now I'm second-guessing everything. She's seemingly okay now, and I took the week off so we can celebrate Juneteenth together and just decompress from it, but I want her to grow up and be safe. Am I the asshole here for saying good job? In the comments, Emotion87 says, not the asshole. I've always told my children to never start the fight, but if a kid starts some shit and puts hands on you, you have every right to finish it. Self-defense is self-defense. My older brother was constantly picked on by the school bullies. Like all of them. My dad encouraged self-defense, and so every time he ended up in the principal's office, with the principal telling my dad he needed to make my brother stop fighting. My dad's response? Well, it's your job to protect my son from bullies here at school. If you're not going to do your job, I'm not going to tell my son he can't defend himself. This world's a dangerous place with a lot of nasty people out there. Self-defense is an absolute right. Not the asshole. The bully got exactly what they deserved. I wish more parents were like you. I was bullied by a boy when I was in middle school. He kept escalating until one day he hit me hard enough in the face to absolutely smash my nose and broke my glasses. It was so bad that I had to have surgery so I could breathe out of my nose again. Turns out, I actually had fractures in my orbital bones as well. School did nothing. My parents sued the shit out of his parents and the school. The bully came back the next year. I was in the process of moving to a private school and tried again with me. I maced the shit out of him in his face. This was back in the 90s. Hands down, best day of my life. You did good. Your daughter will remember this. Even now, I won't start anything, but you'll be damn sure that I'll finish it. There is no problem with defending yourself. Back up to the post, there's an edit. Holy shit, that's a lot of comments. Editing some typos, and also clarifying some questions and assumptions, as I can't answer that many comments tonight. 1. Multiple students confirm her story. So no, I don't think she's lying and started a fight for no reason. She's as level-headed as they come, and I won't say that she's never lied to me, but I will say that I tend to know when she does. 2. Cameras are being checked because I formally requested today. 3. I'm not a dad, but a mum. And 4. Not everyone agreed with my brother, but enough of them did that made me question, and he and his wife were very insistent. Well, it sounds to me like all of these people, and him and his wife, have never had to deal with some bullshit like this. And if they had, and they don't condone self-defense, then they are throwing their children to the wolves, and they are condoning the bully and allowing it to happen, enabling their children to be bullied. Actually, I'm 100% on OP's side for this one. If one day I have kids and they are the target of bullies in this way, I'm going to say, do exactly as OP's child has done. If they start it, if they lay their hands on you, you beat the shit out of them, and I will be there standing side by side with you, applauding you for standing up for yourself and not taking shit. Self-defense is self-defense. Do not tell a child not to defend themselves. You are going to mess that child up, and I think those people that disagreed with OP, sure, they can have their perspective on it, but I don't think they're correct. So yeah, I would like OP to know that I agree with them. And now, onto the update. So about a week ago, I posted about a bully sitting with my kid who was female 13. and I mentioned this bully is a relative of someone who works high up in our district. I went into a meeting with the district after my formal request for the camera footage of the event, and I continued to follow up via email and call, but kept getting stonewalled. I was frustrated, so I spoke to my BFF who works in education, and she suggested a police report would, quote, put a Bunsen burner under their asses. She was right. Once I had a copy of my report for the assault, and armed with all of my past complaints and emails with the resource officer of the kid's school, I sent it to my point of contact with the district. It's a frickin' miracle. I got a call the same day. A meeting was arranged, and I meet with them next week. Juneteenth was wonderful, and my kid had a blast. She hasn't been punished, and honestly, I was really enjoying spending time with her, so we took advantage of the time. Saw a movie, went shopping, etc. I work a lot and am a single mum, so free time outside the general weekends has been rare as of late, especially now that she's doing camps, making friends, and wanting to do sleepovers and such. I posted some photos on my private account, and my brother sent me a text. I won't go into everything because his message was long, but basically he said that I'm spoiling her when she should be punished for fighting in school, and I will be raising a criminal. I told him that he can mind his business and his own children, and he said, she's not even really yours. And I lost it. My message back was that he's not been supportive since my husband died, and come to think of it, he wasn't supportive when we married. So I don't take his opinion on my daughter with any high regard. And if he and his wife want to instill in children that they should let someone hurt them or others, and bullies should have their way, then maybe it's time we spent less time around them. We were going to go to the birthday party of my sister-in-law before all of this happened, a family event. I think my daughter and I will skip that for now. And before it's asked, she's not biologically my daughter, but legally, and in the way of the fact that I love her more than anything. I formally adopted her when she was 2, after I married her father. He passed away when she was 6, and I've had sole custody since. Her biological mother is not in the picture. Since my husband passed, it's just been me and her in the day-to-day. I hope to update after the school meeting. And now, on to update 2. We had the meeting over Zoom. I came in expecting to have to come in guns blazing like a maniac. I was ready to go off, go fully feral, but I guess all of the legal work that I've been doing around this was sufficient fire under their rears. I was indirectly asked to not further involve authorities. The footage finally found proved my daughter's story. With this evidence, and all of the stuff that I've managed to bring to the table, plus having a lawyer's contact info sent to them, they finally expelled the kid. I was assured that he will not be at the school next semester. It was a win, but not enough for me to stop the legal actions. Maybe that makes me the asshole, but screw it. I don't care. Charges are being pressed for assault armed with the video. Here it's not life-ruining unless he keeps the pattern of abuse. But I'm also looking to get my kid in a STEM-oriented school since that's her passion right now. I looked at packages and tuitions, etc., and it'll be tight but doable. And I truly believe that she's gifted, smart, and hard-working enough that giving her a chance to explore this is worth any inconvenience. That should be it, right? Oh, you sweet summer child. My daughter doesn't even know about the meeting. She's been happily in camp elsewhere during the day, but a few days ago she asked me, "Mama, do you think I'm a bad person?" And I told her that I didn't. She asked me why does her uncle think so, and I asked her what she meant. My beloved brother's stepson has been texting my daughter as they're actually close. Brother has been shit-talking my kid. He calls her my stray kitten and not real family. That effing did it. I'm having a barbecue at my place for July 4th, and I formally uninvited him and his wife. I sent him a text stating that the way that he treats me and my kid is simply unacceptable. I am a mum, and my duty is to my kid. I cannot have someone who looks down on her and treats her badly come into her home where she is to be safe. He is not a safe person for my child, and thus not welcome in my home. My brother lost his mind on me so badly that I had to mute his number for a while to get some peace. He started with put-downs and insults, but he then went for my kid. He called her some terrible things and then said that I'm brain dead for keeping my stray after all of the trouble she's made. I just said, wow, what's your problem with her, really? You're doing the effing most to hate her. Like, how does a grown man get off hating a literal child? He told me to F off, so I sent screenshots to Mum. Yeah, I tattled. I'm grown. I don't give a shit anymore. Screw this guy. He's my brother, I love him, but I don't like him, and if he's gonna show his whole ass, I may as well fetch Mum so she can pull his stick out of it. That was an hour ago. My kid and I headed out for pizza. Have fun, bro. He better be glad that it's our mum and not me about to hand him his own hind. Tonight, I'll try to talk to my daughter about the school, and sadly that uncle and auntie are grade A liquid shits. I won't use that phrase, but I'm pissed, and so won't be around and maybe taking some time with just her and me. We are a team, me and her against the world. I will always have her back. Oh, and she and I will together be taking Krav Maga, or Krav Maga. Thanks for the suggestions. With the bully dealt with, I think this is my final update. So I wanted to say thanks to everyone who kept this mama sane and was supportive. It's crazy how simple, kind, and affirming words can bolster a person. For those who've shared stories online of being bullied, I'm sorry you went through that, and as for your bullies, may a popcorn kernel be lodged in each tooth and unreachable every single day. Love, as always, Xavi and V. In the comments, Sowing Mayhem says, so he's adopted himself and he has a stepson, yet still calls her daughter, who she's been raising for over a decade, a stray kitten and not family? If I was his wife, I would be making arrangements for childcare in case of my death, because apparently if she dies, it 100% would be cool for him to abandon her son. Wow, yeah, huge not the arsehole. I got in trouble at school a few times. Once was a friend being harassed by a kid with a spider. She was very afraid of them. I got the teacher, and she said to solve it ourselves. So I kicked the kid so hard he got bruises. Office call, and Mum heard the whole story and took me for an ice cream. Very fair in her punishments. When my siblings got involved with some fellow teen arsonists, just a hairspray flame, no lasting damage, she took the suspension to watch a documentary together on burn victims and discuss the adult issues of playing with fire. Yeah, look, if they're doing something that's genuinely messed up, you go and you educate them on why what they're doing is bad and harmful, and why they shouldn't do pack mentality that leads to shit like arson. I really do feel like a lot of us have known people that do stupid shit like arson, and how that can and does lead to out-of-control damage that can kill people or permanently injure others or just destroy whatever it is they're burning. That is one example of behavior. If your child has no reason to be beating the shit out of someone else at school, obviously you clamp down on that. But I think it was hilarious that we got this extra side story of the brother just coming in and shitting on OP when he himself is in the exact same situation as her. So yeah, he deserves to have his ass beat for that. And I'm glad that OP tattled on her mum because yeah, let's hope that OP's mum will beat the shit out of him for that one and put him in his place. He deserves to be put in his place. What is wrong with this grown man calling her a stray? Just disgusting behavior all around. What, because he didn't get his way when he was handing out advice and she didn't listen to him? So, you know what? OP and her daughter are just the worst pieces of shit in the world, and I'm gonna go completely unhinged on them. Just sad. It's just sad to see people act like that. I know there's more to address in this story, like I'm very much happy that OP won the court case. Thank you, OP, for doing that for your daughter, and thank you for continuing to press charges after the fact. You don't just let it go because he got expelled. No, I want this on his record. Screw him, he doesn't get extra protection because someone else is much higher up in the school system and on the board. No. I would want these charges to follow that kid, so the next time anything like this happens, yeah, that's it. Criminal charge. You're in jail, buddy. Have fun with that. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.